What a gift to be with you, Dr. Elsbeth Meuth. You're the founder of the Tantra Nova Institute out of Chicago, and the Tantra Nova work. You know, you and your partner, I know Freddie Zentel very well. You have done just transformational work with people over the years. And just describe a little bit about what that is, and your platform, where you're coming from for our audience today.
Thank you so much, Louise, to have me on. I'm just thrilled to do this with me, given that you're also my mentor. So learned so much from you over the last couple of years. And so while we also tap into energy, just like your work is about, however, we come from a little different place that is geared towards how we can use our innate energies to create and bring more fulfilling love and intimacy into our life. And given that none of us had a course in high school or college where we learned about how to create intimacy and love, it's totally absent from the curriculum. So when I turned 50 and I was despaired about having everlasting intimacy in my life and didn't want to leave the planet without it, I did my own work around really doing my own clearing. And then out of that clearing, I decided to create a school that would teach people how to create consciously intimacy and love. Because once we have the tools and the principles and practices, we can replicate it. Our body gets used to it, so we can shift situations that may not be fulfilling into a fulfilling situation or fulfilling relationship. And I have been doing this for the last 20 years with my beloved, Freddie Zental, who came into my life around 20 years ago when I had opened up and was ready for love. So yeah, I love what I do. And we have been doing this all over the world. And of course, as you already said, we are headquartered in Chicago.
Oh, I love, love, love what you're doing, Elsbeth. You know, both you and Freddie and what you've created. I've experienced your work as well. And what an opening for people. And, a real important topic too, because people, I don't know, maybe that's just what I feel from the energy in the world today is, there's a distance happening because of our computers and our text messaging and not getting together anymore and sharing. And so I think intimacy has suffered,
And then there is even another place that has erupted, which has to do with the Me Too movement, or the time is up. That actually in the realm of intimacy and love and creating fulfilling relationships, it's something that we are actually more at odds with as a world culture. It's not just in this country. And in some sense, it has been here for, millennia. Otherwise, the eruption of Me Too would not have been so enormous. That has been simmering for a long, long time, has to do with women coming into their own. And that now is the time to create really partnership relationships instead of hierarchical relationships that we are used to, like patriarchy, where one is up and one is down. Mm-hmm. How it has been in relationship. Women were subordinate to men.
Right.
Yeah, in all areas of life. And so what I want to bring forth further is to step out of a flat world where that is this hierarchical structure, where we cannot have partnership, it's not possible, into a round world where we can sail around the world. In terms of relationship, it means that we learn how to have partnership, like I look at it as a figure eight.
Okay.
Where one moment one may lead and then the other leads, but there is not one leader all the time or one in charge and the other has to follow. And so I'm very excited about that, because that opens up literally a new world, which is round. And not only that we can sail around the world, we can discover new lands, new countries, new people. you know? I mean, in terms
Yes.
of relationship, it's like, wow, if I could learn to appreciate your difference while I learn to appreciate my difference, then we really dance with that versus, this whole really conflicting
Mhm.
situation between men and women. For some it's more, for some it's less. But that misunderstanding around our sexual self, it's
Mhm.
a huge misunderstanding. Otherwise, Me Too wouldn't exist.
Right. Good point.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
there
Yeah.
so much blindness and unconsciousness. And we all lived, men and women, lived in that unconsciousness for millennia.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so Me Too has erupted it. But
Mhm.
now the question is, what are we going to do now?
Right. Exactly.
This is where I come in, because in a world where I want to live is that we really partner with each other, that the feminine, masculine, that the yin and the yang, that the testosterone and the estrogen, given that they complement each other, that we learn to dance with each other, this, which is fulfilling and respectful of both.
Right. More an appreciation, like you said, the figure eight, a dance,
Right.
that dance.
Yeah.
Um, just because I feel like we're in the moment right now, is there one thing you could share with us that would help people out there actually create that dance with their partner? So whether you're a woman or a man listening today, Elspeth, is there one tool, one trick, something you could share with us that would help us create that figure eight, that dance, and that intimacy with our partners?
Yes, what a great question. So, where it always starts is with myself,
Mm-hmm.
because the way I'm on the dance floor has all to do with what I put out, what I radiate or hold back, the skills I have or lack, you know. So,
Okay.
this is the access to the beautiful dance.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is really to look at myself and see, where have I not been aware of the dynamic of the relationship? What do I bring to the situation?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I've, felt victimized in my life, or like I remember I grew up and I was a little girl. I decided, like internally, that I wanted to become like a man, because not that I was a tomboy, but that is where I saw the power. My dad had always the last word.
Okay.
Now, that was a futile wish
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't realize it. And it took me decades to uncover that. And by
Right.
freeing myself, what opened up was that I dropped more into my feminine self and appreciated that softness. And I don't mean just physically, like our breasts of a woman. There's so much softness, literally. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm also speaking about the softness of the heart, the tenderness, the sensibilities we have, because
Yes.
we cognate very differently than men, much more quickly between right and left brain than guys who are either on that track or on
Mm-hmm.
that track, you know. While we can have one emotion in one moment, and then 5 minutes later we are fine. And the husband sits there, what did just happen? She just complained, I feel awful. My testosterone levels have dropped, because when they get complaints, men, that testosterone drops, I feel like shit. And she
Uh-huh.
walks around the room as if nothing had happened. That is what I mean with cognating much more
Right.
fluidly than men do, which can already be a trigger in the relationship. So to really become aware of these differences, but first looking at myself, what I'm bringing, am I actually listening? Or am I just seeing the other out of my own glassy eyes the way I want to see him? So I never really see him. And he is different. The masculine energy shows up differently. Now, I want to also be very clear, what I'm saying is not just in heterosexual relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It shows also up in homosexual, in bisexual, in transitional relationships, because every relationship has a polarity, just like the North and South Pole, just like sexual, spiritual, yin and yang. These are all polarities.
Right.
And if there is no polarity, there is no magnetism. And you know that from your
Oh,
energy.
that makes sense. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like the plus and minus on an outlet. If there was no minus, it wouldn't work because there's no circuit.
Right.
So to have a circuit, I call it magnetism. We need to have that yin and yang, that feminine, masculine, that testosterone and estrogen. And that shows up in every human being. And in relationship, it shows up in one more the testosterone and in the other the estrogen. Doesn't matter if I'm in a same-sex couple. So I
Mm-hmm.
just want to make it relevant for all of us,
Sure.
because sometimes, she just talks about men and women in heterosexual relationships. No, this is an energetic principle that we can actually not only become aware of, but
Mm-hmm.
then how can we work with it so
Yes.
that the
Yes.
attraction gets cultivated versus we drifting apart, that I can hear my partner more while I listen to myself, because I don't want to, disregard myself, speaking my voice and listening to the other's voice.
So you are describing very much so that dance, that figure eight that you're talking about, the polarity, being able to listen, but listen to yourself first and know where you're coming from, you know? Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Because if I keep looking into the world in the same way, I won't see anything new because I have
Right.
the same shades on. So sometimes we can do the work ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we may want to work with a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
because at times we cannot, I need no input. And it's not going to come from myself because
Right,
I know
right.
already.
Great point. I believe that's part of what we do with conversation like this is we're helping people take a peek inside your brain, if you will. Knowing where you're coming from with your work so that we can learn something new about how we can show up in the world and be. And as a major, transformational coach and healer and master teacher that you are, I also know that we all struggle with our own internal stuff too, right? As we're moving through the world. In other words, we learn and grow also, and different things happen in our own lives that are our teachers and show up. And I know that we worked together a little bit this last year, and you went through some health challenges that also gave you a new peek or a new insight even into the furthering of the great work that you're doing in the world. So share with us what happened. I know you went through, like I said, a health thing, and I think that there will be some people here who will resonate with this because it'll give them some clues too
Yes.
about what maybe they went through if they went through something similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
So much. So a year ago, and I remember actually then working with you actually throughout the whole year, and I feel very much that you have been both my witness of my shift over the last year, and also I feel a little bit like you have been my doula by my side and watching me and supporting me, and
Mm-hmm.
certain moments really doing beautiful clearings with me that prepared me for the surgery. Actually, a couple of surgeries I had, and one led then, the second one was a hysterectomy last October.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was really at ease with the surgery itself and really felt like, yeah, this is right, there is a clearing that it's called for, um, and was very much at peace about it, and had done some clearing work with you, which was very helpful, of like clearing in my physical body. And however, what I didn't anticipate was the emotional impact, following the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only describe it as it threw me into an emotional state where I felt raw, where I felt so vulnerable, and also a longing arose that I didn't know what to do with. However, I also couldn't suppress it. I was very clear, whatever was there for me to feel,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to go through it. There was a moment when Freddie said to me, darling, would you like to take some medication? And
Uh-huh.
I said,
Mhm.
no, thanks for suggesting, but I want to really be with what's showing up, because there's a lesson for me. There's an opening there that if I subdued it, I won't have what is there for me to see, to get. And so in that sense, it was a beautiful journey, hard and gut wrenching in many ways.
Mhm.
Um, at the same time, it brought me back to a great aliveness, because when we truly feel the whole range of emotions,
Mhm.
beautiful to, really intense and helplessness and powerlessness, that is also where our young child resides. The young child that felt so just jumping in the bed for the heck of it. I didn't
Right.
even when I was a kid to be happy. So it took a few months to
Mhm.
really look through, and in the I use meditation a great deal to really follow the trail, like the longing. What was the origin of the longing? What was I longing for? Was it the lover in this life, or was it like reuniting with the universe, or coming back home to myself? So I spent hours meditating, and that what showed up was, like it's a reunification, that longing. Instead of looking to the outside, it's like already here. But I needed to be waken up. And the result was really that could could let go of a kind of drivenness that I had for most of my life, because I felt I needed to overcome that I was academically a failure when I was a kid, and that I needed to prove to my dad that I was good enough and that I was smart enough. So everything I did from the age of 18 to, a year ago was about making it in the world and proving that I'm smart enough and good enough. I got a doctorate. I became a successful management consultant. I built a, successful, a thriving coaching business. And there I was, this hysterectomy woke me up. These
Woke you
feelings
up. Mhm.
woke me up. And it was like a relief that, wow, there's nothing to drive for.
Oh, you became, so it sounds like and I've watched this transformation, for you too, is you became softer with your own self
Yes.
in the same way. It's so funny because we teach what we need to learn
Mm.
and we relearn it when those times in our life, come up when we need to learn the next piece of it. And it sounds like you did such a beautiful job moving through that time. I watched you do that, Elspeth, with your great meditation and your inner questioning, so we could share with people. Yes, it's asking those deeper inner questions. My teacher always said the question's more important than the answer. Because if you're asking the question, you already have the answer.
Mm.
So what is this for me? What is this longing? Is it for universe? Is it for me? What is it? Is it for greater love? What is it? You were asking all those internal questions, and that's the deepest learning that can take place. But we often have to experience, I don't want to say a trauma, but something that happens that upsets, you know, the path we're on, for
Yes.
us to have that deeper learning again.
Yeah, gets us out of the ordinary, out of
Yes.
what we are used to.
Mm-hmm.
That is so. And there is another opening that occurred for me out of that, which is that I have gotten very clear about my calling, for the rest of my life. This is how I look at it, where I take the work that we have cultivated at Tantra Nova to a whole other level, to reach a much broader audience with the message of that healing, of that sexual spiritual connection. like that they are actually two sides of the same coin,
Uh-huh.
and the masculine. So now, since you and I talked, I think what came to me is these coordinates. So that the sexual and the spiritual and the feminine and the masculine, it's like they belong together because we cannot shift male and female relationships without addressing the sexual. And how we know that is Me Too.
Okay. Okay.
So something
Yes.
new, something different, a new awareness needs to be brought forth that always includes then that we need to embody a new way of being that only happens through practice. So new practices
Hmm.
around our sexual, spiritual axis and our feminine, masculine being, which first starts within and then how we relate in these with these axes with another. And it doesn't matter if it's a beloved or if it's my boss or it's a friend, because relationship is relationship, and we bring ourselves in these axes to every relationship. It may be expressed differently. I may not go to bed with my boss, only with my lover. So the expressions may be different, but the background is the same.
Right. And when I think about universal energy and what you're talking about how the coordinates happen in the masculine and the feminine and just, aligning that way, that's not unlike what we do with universal energy. I was exposed to a woman who is a shaman,
Mhm.
and she's talking about the moon and the sun and the feminine and the male energy there. And, how the cycles of all of that too is sort of the greater piece, but it's also happening within.
Yes.
And so we are one. We are one with the universe. We're one consciousness. And so I believe that our goal and intention is when we work on ourselves, it helps everyone else around us. So we have a personal responsibility to be on that personal growth path, to learn these lessons, to seek out new mentors, to whatever it is, to get closer to what I call 100% our soul truth.
Yes.
Right, that deeper inner sense of the knowingness
Yes.
of who you are and who you're connected to, and that is non-religious in the sense that there we all have hopefully a higher power, whatever that is, or practice,
Yes.
meditation practice, or a practice that we're connected to on a deeper, bigger level. And you bring that so beautifully to to the masculine and the feminine energy, and how people understand that in a way where they could use those tools in the world for themselves and their own relationships. But like you said, even with the boss, it's not just your partner, it's your sister, your brother, your boss, um, whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm excited for your new opening, that and where this is going for you and taking this out to the world in a bigger way.
yes. Yes.
Uh, it's going to be magical. I can feel it.
Yes. And of course, Louise, it calls me into expanding.
Hmm.
I've actually appropriated new breathing practices that allow me also to expand my rib cage because I feel so that I can hold that space for that transformation for millions of people. I have this vision to bring this to the UN, or a body that can really then where it can snowball. And
Hmm.
so there's something for me to be further in, reached into and out and learning new skills and speaking in front of thousands and thousands of people. I mean, when Freddie brought up a couple of years ago, why don't we create bigger workshops, and said, no, I don't want to teach bigger workshops. I love the intimate size of, anywhere from 10 to 20. 20 is the most,
Hmm.
because I really like to go into depth. And most importantly, that is just where I thrive, you know.
Uh-huh.
So while I really have developed in that realm, I feel like, oh, Elsa, there is a whole other realm to be expanded into. And it's both in my consciousness as well as also in my physical capacity. You know, it
Wonderful.
to go hand in hand. And so, yeah, so I keep doing my own work, and I have my role models, you know, like Amal Clooney, George Clooney's wife. Uh,
Uh-huh.
you're familiar with her. She's a gorgeous woman, and she's a human rights lawyer who argued cases in front of the UN for many years. Don't know
Hmm.
if she's still doing it, but I think, yeah, I want to become like her. So I download her, you know, her
Oh,
presence,
wonderful.
her confidence, her, I mean, she's much younger than I'm, but it doesn't matter. It's the energy,
Right. It's the
you know,
energy.
energy
Yes.
in the skills that come with that energy. So I embody that. And then another one came recently up in my, you know, my downloading experiences, which is Brene Brown, who talks about vulnerability and the
I have
way
a book right here.
yes, yes,
It's right next to me.
yes, and she has this great talk on Netflix now, and I watched it and I said, well, she's very different than I am, very different character, yeah, ambiance.
Hmm.
However, the way
Yes.
she teaches through stories or examples. I mean,
Yes.
one after the other, and then she makes a point again, and then distinctions, and then she brings a story again so that it really settles in. And I want to learn this more, like as an
Mhm.
approach, you know. So anyway, that is how it looks for me at this moment in my learning to learn new skills. I want to really learn them in a speedy way
Mhm.
instead of I have to, you know. That is why I think I was academically not a good student. It was not designed for me, and I know you can understand that, having been a teacher of, you know, students who were not academically so quick. I probably would have been a great student for you.
I always gravitated towards those amazing people because they're the most gifted in the world. So I consider you one of those amazing gifted kid, gifted adult, gifted people in the world. You have that insight, that emotional intelligence, that ability to really look at things, take them apart in a different way than someone who's getting A's in school. It's not about that.
Mhm.
It's not the bad. And yes, being a teacher for so many years, I actually really loved especially, I don't know why, the boys that got into trouble. I felt like they were holding on to their soul's truth,
Yeah.
that they were really being who they are in their own body.
Mhm.
And it didn't matter if they got in trouble, they were still expressing themselves.
Mhm. Mhm.
And there was something that I just really loved about that. It's kind of funny. And then it kind of went into adulthood. It started when I was just a teacher in my 20s, and I still attract those people now. So I don't I don't know, but I do know that the transformational work is so important for people. People are being called to work with energy workers now. Apparently, on the last Grey's Anatomy show, the medical doctor was seeking an energy worker for help, which is such a great step for mankind, womankind. I was like, yes. Everything is energy. We're all connected,
Mhm.
and the energy that the passion, I can feel it, the passion that you have for your work and how it's going to get out there bigger in the world, to help more people isn't it's important right now. It's a big piece of the movement that we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is something beautiful arising, which is now it's no longer about me. You know,
Mm-hmm.
with the drivenness gone,
Mm-hmm.
it's not, I'm not doing it to get acknowledgement, to prove myself, to get better and better, make more and more money, and, you know, all of that. And the money will be part of it, but that's not what I'm going for anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's really making that difference to alter that relationship that we have been talking about, the feminine masculine relationship in this world, and really making a difference there, even if it may just be a dent. I will do whatever I can and as much as possible before I leave this planet. Who knows when that is, you know? But now I'm here, and I'm fully here, and that is such a great place to be in and come from.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like I feel like it goes like this for my own resource. It moves out and contributing versus doing something in order to get something back. For me, it was like acknowledgement and being okay. You know,
Right, right.
I work on this for many decades. It was not like this brand new thing that came up during the surgery, but it was like the last sliver that I was ready to let go so that I can now be fully and truly available to giving what I came here for. You know, this is
Oh,
the
beautiful.
universe, like where I came from, in through the birth canal. There was a purpose, as it is for all of us. The
Mm-hmm.
question is, are we connected with our purpose, or did we forget about? And that is what I revisited over the last year. What did I come here for? And I had to do some remembering. Not all of it was easy, but it was good because there was also that place where I connected with
Mm-hmm.
that beautiful, pre-birth, preconception, where we are pure energy and where we choose and okay, now it's the time for me to come through. Before
Yes.
there was clarity, there was like bliss, there was, like, of course, that is my gift and this is what I come in here. And then we grow up and we forget about it.
Right. When we get all that stuff in our energy field, it gets attached. So
Mm-hmm.
it gets stuck in sort of the brain soul. So it's all the stuff that happens to us. And so that's the work that I love to do, is to peel those layers off of all those emotions and the stuff that gets stuck between birth and where we are now, and beyond, or even, ancestral kind of patterns, because those don't allow us to be 100% our truth. And when you can get to that place where you're 100% your soul truth, you can ask those deeper questions and know what that purpose is and feel it deep inside you and know what it is,
Yeah.
right? And really have a knowing. And, I have those conversations with people every day. People ask, hey, I want to know my purpose on the planet. I want to know what I'm here for. And, just had that just before I got on this call with you today, this interview is, and I said, the purpose in your life and in all of our lives is literally just to be you.
Mm. Yeah.
To be you. Your gift is allowing, you are shining it bigger.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And to
So
get
awesome.
it, like really get it here,
Mm-hmm.
is, I think, part of the journey because it's like, when I look at growing up, I didn't feel like I could be me
Mm-hmm.
because the me of me didn't fit, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I didn't know where to orient myself. And what I then did was just, I lived in my inner world. No wonder I was, not a good academic student because while I was physically there, mentally, I was not there. I was in my inner world, which was really a great world.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I was going places there, but I was not present physically,
Right.
mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Like to rediscover that me being me is the gift. This is the big thing I find. I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I can feel it in your field, and where you're going and how
yeah,
you're describing your passion and the new place that you're taking your work in Tantra Nova.
yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah.
It's really awesome. If you could leave us, today, Elsbeth, with one tip, for our audience here about how we can help, um, that that path, if you will, the purpose, and also understanding that divine feminine and the divine masculine. What would that tip be? What could you leave us with? Something we could practice for the next few weeks.
Yeah, great. So if I just could do a quick practice as a tip. So if you just want to place your right hand on your heart center, your chest,
Mm-hmm.
And then close your eyes for a moment and exhale all air. Really empty yourself out fully. And then take a deep breath in when you are ready, filling the belly, and then open your heart center, your chest into the hand, and then exhale again, letting it all go, like emptying yourself out. Let's do this one more time. You really feel the expansion of your heart into the hand, and then continue breathing in your own rhythm. And then take one more moment and just ask the following question of your heart and say to your heart, what would you like right now? And then listen. And the heart may respond with something. It could be anything. The heart may say, oh, I want to go out for a walk, or I need a little sleep right now, or there's something I need to talk about with my partner. Whatever it may be, that is the access to listen to your heart. And remember, your heart never lies. So, taking a moment in the middle of the day or when you wake up in the morning, just place your hand there, do a couple of deep breaths, and then ask the question, what would you like right now, my dearest heart? And then pause and listen, and you'll get the answer. And then go do what your heart tells you to do. Yeah? Don't override it with your left brain hemisphere.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for the gift of sharing with us today. We want to leave everyone with have a powerful, positive day, and we'll see you next time, everyone.